Do you remember the first time you picked up a club? Played a round? Finally beat your dad or your mom? Fell in love with chasing around that little white ball? Do you remember the first time you played in the Masters?
What goes on in the mind of a young man on his first visit to the Augusta National? Probably the thought, am I really here at the Masters?
Can you even imagine? You're an amateur making your Masters tournament debut.
I've been watching this since when I was a child. I'm just still in a dream.
Stepping onto the first tee at Augusta National Golf Club.
Right now I'm feeling good, but that first tee will give me the jitters again, I'm sure.
Simultaneously balancing angst and excitement, the pressure of the moment paired with an appreciation for this awe-inspiring opportunity.
Morning, how are you?
Good luck to you today.
Thank you.
And proud of you.
Appreciate it.
Going back more than 100 years, it was an amateur who first sparked America's interest in the sport.
1913. Francis Ouimet, an almost unknown 20-year-old Boston amateur who had caddied at the country club, fired the shots heard round the world when he defeated Harry Vardon and Ted Ray, the great English professionals, in a dramatic playoff.
Ouimet's victory was a lightning bolt moment, and it electrified a young man growing up in Atlanta, Georgia. Robert Tyre Jones Jr. would take the baton from Ouimet and become the greatest amateur the game has ever seen. At the age of 28, Jones retired from competitive golf after capturing all 4 amateur and professional major championships in a calendar year.
I'm most cordially congratulating Mr. Robert T. Jones as winner of the British Open Championship.
Together with Clifford Roberts, he would establish a place in Augusta National Golf Club where the amateur tradition is more revered than perhaps anywhere else in the game. Each year, those who play the game as Bobby Jones did are treated to an experience unlike any other.
I can't think of anything more exciting, but also more intimidating than playing your first Masters with, oh, by the way, Arnold Palmer.
Fabled champions of yesteryear and the greatest players in the world all competing alongside the stars of tomorrow.
I was just trying to get out of his way today. I just didn't want to do anything wrong.
I was getting out of your way, my friend.
Continuing a tradition and a connection that is more than a century in the making. If you look up the definition of an amateur, it's described as one who engages in a pursuit, study, science, or sport as a pastime rather than as a profession.
Bob Jones was an amateur all his life. He loved his fellow professionals, there's no question, but the game was an amateur game to him.
There's a certain magic to that, to playing the game for more than a paycheck. And it's that purity, that distinct pleasure of playing that makes the amateur aspect of the Masters tournament so captivating. For decades now, Augusta National has served as a stage where the brightest young talents in the game can shine.
The Masters as an amateur was a great experience for me. Having met Bob Jones on a couple of previous occasions, he was always just very gracious. He'd always find me at the amateur dinner, and he says, how about stopping down and bringing your father down to the cabin for a little visit, which we did every year, and then as the years went on, that became a traditional thing for us to do.
For anyone competing at Augusta National, there's an abundance of childlike wonder that strikes you upon arrival when you first drive down Magnolia Lane.
It's an amazing experience to drive down Magnolia Lane, and you can just see the clubhouse lit up in the distance.
Then for a select few, a trip to the Crow's Nest, a dormitory-like space above the clubhouse where amateurs stay during tournament week.
This is probably the coolest part of playing the Masters with an amateur, staying in the Crow's Nest. This is just the pinnacle of amateur golf right here, all the history.
the whole experience can understandably be a bit overwhelming. So, to make their guests feel more at home, the club hosts the Amateur Dinner on Monday evening in the Founders Room, overlooking Butler Cabin. It is a tradition that dates back to 1948 and honors amateur excellence both past and present. Augusta National Golf Club and Masters Tournament Chairman Fred Ridley now presides over the dinner, which he first attended as the reigning U.S. Amateur Champion in 1976. Some 50 years later, Chairman Ridley is the last U.S. Amateur Champion to never turn pro. Yet another example of the club's deep ties to amateur golf.
Augusta National was co-founded by the greatest amateur of all time. To date, all of our Grow the Game initiatives have been focused on amateur golf and amateur golfers.
There are few thrills in golf that can compare with receiving an invitation to compete in the Masters. Many a young golfer who later went on to great fame first played in the Masters as an amateur.
While everyone at the Masters is competing for a green jacket, amateurs have their own additional trophy, the Silver Cup, awarded to the lowest scoring amateur to make the cut, which also earns them a trip to Butler Cabin.
On behalf of all the amateurs that played in the Masters tournament, we would like to thank Mr. Clifford Roberts for treating us so kind. And it was just a privilege for us to play in your tournament. And the only sorrow I have is I didn't meet Mr. Bob Jones, a great amateur.
For some amateurs, like Ben Crenshaw, silver turned to green. He is among a select few to win both low amateur honors and, ultimately, the Masters tournament, along with Kerry Middlecoff, Jack Nicklaus, Phil Mickelson, Tiger Woods, Sergio Garcia, and Hideki Matsuyama. And that is a unique part of this game. Watching a golfer's life play out over time, turning from a wide-eyed teenager into a champion, into a legend. Each year, the defending Masters champion plays alongside the reigning U.S. Amateur champion in the same group, an opportunity to compete against and learn from masters of the game.
I heard all the hoopla, everybody starts cheering. I look around and all of a sudden Jack comes up. How you doing? Good, how you doing? What do you say?
Step on the first tee at Augusta National in the Masters with Arnold Palmer is beyond my wildest expectation. I couldn't have had a better day.
Playing with Tiger, Sunday at the Masters, and the whole week I think I'd have to win one of these things to kind of top this week. Definitely been a dream week.
Each amateur departs Augusta National with memories to last a lifetime, but none have ever left wearing a green jacket. Sam Bennett flirted with the possibility in 2023, posting the second lowest two-round score ever for an amateur.
This morning I was anxious, I was fiddling around. I couldn't really sit still. I was ready to get off that box. That's where I want to be able to hit those shots with the crowd. I loved it.
He entered the weekend in solo third before finishing in a tie for 16th, still claiming low amateur honors and winning hearts around the world. Going back even further to the first televised Masters in 1956, amateur Ken Venturi took a commanding lead into Sunday, but a final round 80 on a difficult day for scoring left him one stroke behind Jack Burke Jr.
Venturi fails to become the first amateur to win the Masters.
I hit the first 9 greens and shot 38. I had 6 3-putt greens. I just couldn't get it in the hole.
5 years later, Charlie Coe finished a stroke shy of Gary Player, sharing runner-up honors with Arnold Palmer. Coe has perhaps the greatest amateur record in Masters history, winning low amateur honors in 4 different decades and 6 times overall, the most ever. He also holds a number of other amateur records at Augusta National, including rounds played, top 25 finishes, eagles, and top 10 finishes. Only one other man has 3 top 10s as an amateur, Billy Joe Patton, who finished as high as 3rd in 1954. even holding the lead on Sunday's second 9, before ultimately finishing one stroke out of a playoff with legends Sam Snead and Ben Hogan. Although the number of amateurs dotting the leaderboard may wax and wane with the decades, their presence at Augusta National Golf Club is unwavering. There are currently 7 paths into the Masters field reserved for amateurs, including invitations to champions of the Latin America Amateur and the Asia Pacific Amateur. It can almost certainly be said that there has never been a better time to be an amateur golfer, no matter your age or your gender.
She did it! She did it!
Beginning next year, we will invite 72 of the game's best women amateur golfers from around the world to compete in the inaugural Augusta National Women's Amateur Championship.
Since 2019, the Augusta National Women's Amateur has spotlighted some of the most talented young women in the sport, culminating with a final round at Augusta National, played the Saturday before the Masters begins.
A champion's finish!
I know all of us competitors really appreciate the support that everyone around the world has given to this event. I think we're really going to start something great in women's golf.
The next day brings the Drive, Chip, and Putt National Finals, as boys and girls ages 7 to 15 test their skills in all 3 areas. Founded in 2013 as a joint initiative by the Masters Tournament, the United States Golf Association, and the PGA of America, Drive, Chip, and Putt is a free junior golf development program aimed at growing the game by focusing on the 3 fundamental skills employed in golf. Fittingly, these champions are determined in exactly the same place where Masters champions are a week later, the 18th green.
These young boys and girls to be able to come here on this special day, I think it's been great. It's going to grow the game. And for us, being players that we remember those days when we started as a young person, it's special, really great.
2024 saw the first National Finals alumni, Akshay Bhatia, compete in the Masters Tournament, a crowning achievement as the competition enters its second decade.
Being the first Drive, Chip, and Putt participant in the Masters is really cool. So I'm hoping, this can inspire a lot of kids that are, having the opportunity to play.
What these amateurs accomplish may inspire the next generation to play the game as Bobby Jones did, to love the game as Bobby Jones did.
You've watched Bobby Jones' movie Stroke of Genius many, many times. What did you learn from that?
I learned that it takes patience to play golf. You lose some, you win some. You can't expect to win them all. You just have to make mistakes sometimes. It takes mistakes to learn.